when DK started, I was really excited. Obviously, it's a topic that's close to my heart, and I've been wanting to do something about it. But it's like, well, where do I begin and what do I say? So here's how it started for me. What made me easy prey to be in an abusive relationship? Well, you can see the list there. It's a handful of things, and a lot of the stuff Joy already talked about. But something I want to hone in on was that I believed I was incapable of goodness. And that sounds so dark and sad, right? But I guess growing up in church, I had learned about the idea of depravity, like the idea that there just wasn't anything good in me. I thought of myself as garbage that Jesus was fond of, but still garbage. And I couldn't see any intuition or any gut feeling I had or any fear in the early stages of that relationship as good or worth listening to. It was so easy for me to say, well, yeah, I'm scared, but it's probably because I'm just, a sinful and controlling person and I want things to go my way. Or, that really hurt my feelings, but it's probably because I have this ego. Oh, typical sin nature. What am I going to do with it? And I had an intuition. I had the Holy Spirit, I'm sure, trying to help me and say, oh, red flag. But I couldn't understand it and I couldn't hear it. What kept me stuck for 5+ years, surrounded by people who knew us? Low self-worth. That's a big one. If you had asked me when I first started dating this person, well, how's your confidence levels? I would have swaggered and spun and said, you tell me. But after a little bit of time with someone who's constantly undermining the truth of everyday interactions, making you second guess yourself regularly, and punishing you when you have your own opinions or thoughts, your self-confidence starts to go, and it goes hard and it goes fast. And I learned over time that I was safe from his kind of wrathful behavior if I was quiet and compliant and had basically no personhood of my own. And even though it hurt a lot, I tried to think of myself as sort of like a married martyr. Well, yeah, I'm suffering, but isn't it noble? Isn't this what Christian love is? And the tricky answer is sometimes it could be. And I didn't know where to draw the line, and I didn't know how to ask for help. And then also sometimes there's messages I would hear at church and scriptures I would read that sounded to me like it was okay if I was destroyed as a person and I was destroyed as a wife, but it wasn't okay to be part of a destroyed marriage. Like, that's just not allowed. And I think that Joy mentioned something like that, but that felt really real for me. And also, secrecy was encouraged and enforced. Like, that's what it sounds like. I had people I was allowed to talk to about my relationship, people I was not allowed to talk to. My ex-husband was very clear that only people outside of our social circle could know certain things. And he would check my phone. I had a tracking device. He knew where I was all the time. And he had me read my messages to him in case he suspected anything was wrong by his standards. And it made it so hard to ask the people in my circle, hey, does this seem normal to you? Am I crazy? Because you really, really start to feel crazy. And then it's even more embarrassing if something's misunderstood, because then it's like, oh, he was right. I am ridiculous. So who helped me? I mean, did the church? Look at that top bullet point. They tried. They really did, you guys. Some pastors tried. Some elders tried. Some different pastors from another church who was friends with us tried. But they were applying advice and help to a destructive and abusive dynamic where I think that advice would have worked in a normal relationship, in a normal marriage where maybe there's some rough patches, maybe it's just a difficult season. That advice does not work in an abusive setting. And in fact, it made it worse again and again and again. When I say that leadership was ill-equipped, what I mean is they're really smart and really good at teaching the Bible and starting groups and reaching out. But I don't think there's anything about domestic abuse in seminary yet. Hopefully it's going to get there. But unfortunately, the people who should have been advocating for me or other oppressed people the most, they just didn't know what to do. Even if they had a slightly closer inside look, like if we went to counseling, it really quickly became a, whoa, listen, I'm just a pastor. I don't have the answers. I don't want to fight. And then where did that leave me? Eventually, two women who were outside of my direct social circle of peers who I was allowed to talk to heard my tears again and again and again, and finally said, you might want to get away. To which I said, well, but that's what you do if you're getting abused. And I'm not getting abused. It's just like something. Okay, well, said one wise woman, what do you think abuse is? Do they have to be hitting you? Well, no. It can just be blame and shame and criticizing and manipulating. Oh, that's all the things I just described to you. Okay, now I hear it. But it took those women, one of them being Mabel, God bless, and the other one being Linda McCubbin. Thank you, ladies, my heroes. I don't know where I'd be without you guys. They had been intentionally studying relationship dynamics for a long time. So they knew what a healthy way to interact with a spouse was, and therefore could really easily see when that wasn't happening. DK wasn't a thing at the time, but they knew. Look at her. Look at that lady on the right, the tall one. Does she look like she needs help? Does she look scared? Does she look like she's performing to get through the day? I don't blame anyone for looking at me and thinking things were okay, but we have an opportunity to be able to see past this performer. If you look closely, I don't know if you can tell, I was not eating. I hadn't had a regular set of meals in months at this point in my life because I was so terrified every day. My appetite just disappeared. And, in our culture, that didn't raise red flags for people. I did get a lot of compliments, though. And I guess I want anyone on Zoom and anyone here to know that it's okay to not see it, but it's not acting in love to sit where we are and to do nothing different and to not learn how to pay attention to people like her. So now what? I mean, I can't be the only one who's been abused or manipulated or isolated or scared. But there's nothing we can do, so I guess we'll all just be sad together. Okay, obviously there's something we can do. We're not just gonna all be sad together. Imagine it ended on that note. Bye. Okay, let's look at 2 Corinthians. Praise be to the God and Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any troubles with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. Because of the women who stepped into my life and comforted me, I am able to do that to other people in the smallest ways and biggest ways that I have available. I want to use the pain in my life to help others. That's why I'm here, and I think that's on some level probably why you're here too. So give a thumbs up if you agree that any and all abusive relationships should be stopped. Ayo, so many thumbs. Keep that thumb up if you wish you recognized some red flags. Now turn that into a hand if you agree to speak up to a DK leader or any domestic violence advocate if you see red flags. Yeah. Hands everywhere. That's going to be very tricky to do if you don't know what red flags are. So, flag spotting. I put a list here. They're all good. There's a lot. I want you to take a second and read through that list. And if something pops out to you that makes you go, I might have seen that before, or ooh, that one seems important, take a note. Keep that in mind, always on the back burner, and keep an eye open for it. I'm going to give you a second to read through and pick one. And if you want an example of what one of these red flags might look like practically, you can just ask and I will tell you. Now or later. Did everybody pick one? I'll take the dead silence as a yes. Okay. The big one that I think is important is if you notice loved ones walking on eggshells. That's one that I wish people notice more. So how can you be a powerful comfort giver and a peacemaker? Well, shameless plug, go to domestic kindness classes. We're offering a 1 hour, just like an intro class, in case like maybe you're not sure if you want to take a whole course, but you do want to know a little bit more. You could get involved with activities like today, or you could do us one better and join the action team. And last but not least, please, if this isn't your church, bring this to your church. This whole program was designed to share. Think of it as a Kit Kat bar of wellness and love. Give it.